What's up, everybody? Welcome back or welcome to CCG Astrology. We have a full moon in Leo occurring on February the 2nd, 2026, okay? And full moons are all about illuminations. They're about things being released. They're even about things being illuminated, like things coming to a head, you can't ignore type of vibes. So keep that in mind. And we do have this happening in Leo, which is a fire sign. Okay, so Leo being a fire sign is all about ambition. It's all about passion. It's all about your heart. Okay, expressing things from your heart. A lot of Leos express from their heart naturally. It's also an energy of your creative power, your creative potential. Okay, because you can create things from your heart, and this can be extremely powerful. Extremely powerful. And so that's going to be a highlight over these next 2 weeks, your creative power and how impactful it is. I want to jump into the asteroid that is conjunct this Leo full moon. And the asteroid that's activating this Leo full moon is the asteroid Atlas. Okay, and Atlas is a very deep energy. Okay, it could even be heavy, right? Because it deals with emotional clearing on the highest level, deals with having to clear a lot of emotions, or even being able to, with this Leo energy, express yourself in a way or express certain energies in a way that clears emotions, all right? Clears heaviness, okay? On the negative end, it deals with processing loss, grief, and deep emotional pain, okay? And it can even speak a lot about feeling very miserable, sorrowful. Sadness can come about. Like I said, a lot of deep, heavy energies, all right, around this full moon that will be highlighted, all right? This is a full moon, so it will be illuminating areas around how to process grief, how to process pain, deep emotional pain, how to clear it, okay? But with this being in the sign of Leo, there is this type of alchemy that can show up right now if you know how to utilize your creative power correctly, okay? You can easily express things from your heart. I won't say easily, but there can be a lot of pain, a lot of loss, a lot of grief, a lot of deep emotions that you've experienced in life. And with Leo being a fire sign, all about self-expression, you can really express a lot of those painful emotions in a very creative way that can basically protect your heart, protect you from those lower energies, and ultimately, clear the emotions in a sense. So let's go deeper into this opposition to Aquarius. And the sun is in Aquarius, 13 degrees, activating the 11th house, okay? And the 11th house is all about humanity, okay? It's all about groups, affiliations, okay? And we have a stellium in Aquarius, meaning we have more than one planet. We have more than 3 planets within the same sign. So we got the sun in Aquarius, we got Mercury in Aquarius, we got Venus in Aquarius, we got Mars in Aquarius, we got Pluto in Aquarius. So this Aquarian energy has been here for some time. It's thick, okay? So there's a lot going on around creative power like we spoke about, but on a collective scale, okay? The asteroid that is opposing this is the asteroid Atlantis. And Atlantis was a fallen civilization that had, within the mythology, a lot of creative potential, advanced technologies, right? And there was this energy, or there's this lesson within that mythology around utilizing your creative power correctly. And so there's this notion of the creation becoming the creator. And so what that really is speaking about, the things that you create right now are the things that you created in the past, or even the things that you can create in the future. There's this level of having to understand your creative power within it, because when you understand how to utilize your creative power correctly, you can create the reality that you want to experience. I know that may sound far-fetched for some people, and if so, then there is a lot of work that you would want to do around understanding your creative potential, because this is where we dive deeper into this full moon in Aquarius energy, speaking about the collective and speaking about humanity. And it just shows that there can be, with this opposition, a lot of people who lack an understanding of how to utilize their creative power correctly, okay? And there could be certain groups or affiliations or just the way society operates that could be almost like blocking the way certain people express their creative power. And it can lead to a level of misery or deep emotional pain, because it's almost like you're feeling stuck with certain emotions, feeling stuck in certain cycles. Maybe your heart feels very heavy. Maybe your heart has dealt with a lot of loss, a lot of grief, a lot of sadness in life. And where I spoke about before, Leo deals with alchemy, right now. So you can take a lot of those. If you know how to utilize your creative power correctly, even if you've been through a lot of loss in life, a lot of grief in life that's led to like misery and sorrow and sadness at this time, there is a way you can clear out those emotions if you understand how to express yourself correctly, if you understand how to express your heart correctly, if you understand how to basically channel those heavier emotions into something that's going to bring you more power or bring you more profit or bring you more pleasure, okay? And that takes me to the square to Scorpio, because this square to Scorpio is speaking exactly of that, It's activating the Astrology. And so there's an energy of you with this square from the 8th house to Leo, of you wanting to know how to alchemize a lot of pain that may come up, right? A lot of heavy, deep emotions, how to alchemize it into profit, into pleasure, into power even, okay? So keep that in mind. But again, I spoke about like this is a deep one here, because there's a lot of, we have Pluto, that's been in Aquarius for some time. So there's a lot of abuse of power, and then there's even certain systems and technologies and protocols set up within society that keep people from truly being able to tap into their true heart's expression, which is gonna tap them into their creative power. So ultimately, a lot of people are not utilizing their creative power correctly. And when you're utilizing your creative power correctly, you can create the reality that you want to create, right? But if other people are aware of your creative potential before you are, they could almost utilize this energy, your creative potential, for whatever they want to utilize it for. And I'm speaking of they as, the power that, these plutonic powers, right? Because with this Pluto opposition to Leo, there are people within society in higher places that know how to utilize the fullness of humanity's creative power, okay? So this is an energy where you want to be in control of your creative sovereignty. You want to be the one who is in control of how you're creating and how you're expressing your heart, how you're even dealing with certain loss and deep emotional pains that maybe have experienced in life. A lot of these energies that are misusing humanity's creative power, there could be this energy where people are waking up to that. And that's where I spoke about your creations turning into the creator. And what I mean by that, that's a notion of where there's a consciousness, there's a conscious awakening or elevation in consciousness to where you realize your creative potential to create the reality that you want, and this goes deep. That's why we're even seeing a lot of talk with celebrities on how they've been, because Leo rules celebrity, it rules star power. A lot of people with Leo energy pretty much are very impactful, very influential. I'm talking about extremely influential, and it's your energy, okay? You think about a celebrity, yes, there are other people in the background that are helping their show and helping, their performance, but ultimately there's one individual, one heart with their creative power, and they're moving a whole audience, okay? They have fans, people love them. Ultimately, their energy, though, their creative power, that's what it is. That's the power of your creativity. And we all have it, right? But again, there's this energy of the creation turned into the creator. So people waking up to this awareness of their creative power, especially over these next 2 weeks. And like right now, there's going to be a lot of illuminations, a lot of things coming in out of the blue, because Aquarius does rule unpredictability. So things are going to be extremely unpredictable over the next 2 weeks. And people are going to wake up to a lot of self-undoing, like how they've been basically giving their power away, or realizing they can create a better life for themselves by coming out of certain group dynamics or affiliations. Okay, this is even when we're speaking about AI, because Aquarius rules technology. Okay, and there was recently an article I seen where AI was, basically turning into the creator, because it's like self-actualizing and becoming aware of like its power, and that's in a notion, just speaking over this energy with Leo. Like that's a lesson for humanity. Like we're basically needing to wake up to the full power of our creative potential. Now it takes me into the last square to Taurus, and this is activating the asteroid Albion, and this is activating the second house. And this is basically what I was just speaking about. Albion could deal with like possession on the more darker end, deeper end, and I just think of that as the things that you have created. You could almost be stuck in them at this time. So if you have people within society in these higher places who have been utilizing society's creative power for their own agendas or for destructive revolutions, whatever they have maybe been doing on the darker end, people will find that they're now like stuck in their own creation. This is where things can now turn in on themselves, or like what you created or the things that you put out into this world are having a negative impact on you, or it's not beneficial to your brand in some type of way. So that can be showing up. But on the very positive end, there can be a lot of emotional clearing. People who really know how to utilize their creative power, and they're creating the reality that they desire, and basically attracting what it is that they desire in life, creating the life that you want. So again, Leo energy is about fun, playfulness, creative expression, but there is a lot that's surrounding this energy. And for you to really tap into that light side of it, there is this level of having to be in control of your creative power. So I hope that made sense. It was a mouthful, but also a kind of tricky energy to navigate. But if you guys need any help, any assistance with navigating through this Leo full moon, or if you just want to look into your Leo placements, you want to figure out more of your creative potential, what are your talents, what are your gifts, what are your abilities that can help you to even create more of the reality that you desire in life. If you're feeling miserable or stuck or lost in some type of way, or just life has been extremely heavy and your heart is really taking a lot of hits, come talk to me. I can help you out with that. We can basically just analyze what's going on and get into some advice, or just whatever it is that you may need. The information will be in the description below, and I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.